Easter eggs. No, I'm gonna get the most Easter eggs, but I'm gonna get the most Easter eggs. Okay, how many Easter eggs are you gonna get? I'm gonna get like 12. I'm gonna get 13. Hi everyone! Happy Easter! I'm your host, and I am so excited that you've taken a few minutes to sit down and join me wherever you are. Together, we're gonna celebrate the most important event ever, Easter. Now, you and I both know Easter is about more than eggs and chocolate and that fake grass you'll be vacuuming up for weeks. It's about the biggest moment in human history. But before I get to that, I thought it might be fun to take a look at how Easter has been celebrated in the past. Whoa, okay, not quite as far back as the very first Easter. See, at that time, Jesus' disciples were hiding behind closed doors. And well, I think we've all had enough of that in the last year. I'm talking about the way our great-grandparents celebrated Easter in style. Okay, let's be real. Some of you are in your PJs right now, or at least your comfy clothes. But earlier generations really knew how to make the day festive. And of course, some of the traditions we know and love today started many years ago. Take Easter eggs. See, Easter eggs were first decorated more than 500 years ago as a symbol of new life. Check this out. You've got egg art of all kinds. Carved eggs, wooden eggs, whoa! Painted eggs, it's so beautiful. And the classic plastic eggs. But my personal favorite? The chocolate cream egg.
One, two, three, Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. God loved the world, so He gave His Son. Jesus is our friend. He loves everyone. God loved the world, so He gave His Son. Jesus is our friend. He loves everyone. We sing 1, 2, 3. Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3. Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. God loved the world, so He gave His Son. Jesus is our friend. He loves everyone. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. 1, 2, 3, Jesus is alive. He died for you and me, but on day 3, Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. Jesus rose again. Jesus is alive. Jesus rose again. My Jesus is alive.
It's about a plan that God formed from the foundation of the world, just like this lily grew from a dry bulb in the dark earth. God's plan took shape out of darkness and brokenness. And at the right time, He brought about the most amazing, breathtaking, beautiful event this world has ever known. Let's take a look.
In the beginning, God created a magnificent paradise, and everything in it was good. He created water and land and plants and trees and birds and fish and animals. And then, from the very dust of the earth, God created a man called Adam. He created a woman called Eve. They were the first two people on earth, made in God's image, living peacefully in paradise. Adam and Eve were friends with God. But then, they made a terrible choice. God had given Adam and Eve one rule.
You must not eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you do, you will certainly die.
But the temptation was too great for Adam and Eve. They broke God's rule, and what was once a paradise became a broken world. People started telling lies.
It was the woman you put here with me. She made me eat it.
Brother fought against brother.
No!
Selfishness spread through generations. When there had been peace in the garden, now there was pain and sin and death separating people from their Creator. But God had a plan to make peace once again with the people He loved so much. Hundreds of years after Adam and Eve broke His rule, God chose a man named Abraham and said,
All nations on earth will be blessed because of you. Look up at the sky. Count the stars if you can. That's how many children will be born into your family.
So Abraham had a son, Isaac, and Isaac grew up to have two sons of his own, Jacob and Esau. And those two sons had children of their own. Jacob, who God renamed Israel, he himself had 12 sons. So God had given Abraham a huge family just like He promised. But God's people, the Israelites, were still lost and broken, separated from Him. They still did not have peace. They didn't have peace when God rescued them from slavery in Egypt, when God led them through the Red Sea to escape their enemies.
Okay, great. But what are we supposed to eat out here in the desert? Sand?
The nation of Israel didn't have peace when God gave them a new law.
These commandments are hard. We want a king like all the other nations.
They didn't even get peace when God gave them a king.
The king's laws are no fair. We want a new God, like all the other nations.
Nope, nothing gave God's people lasting peace. They were still lost and broken and separated from God for thousands of years. But God had not forgotten the promise He made to Abraham.
All nations on earth will be blessed because of you.
God still had a plan to show the people just how much He cared for them. He knew this broken world would never be able to rescue itself, so God made a way. God sent His Son, Jesus, to bring peace on earth once and for all. Jesus grew up, and He taught people love and compassion, forgiveness and grace. He healed the sick and befriended the outcasts. He saw what was wrong and made it right. He loved the world and its people so deeply, He gave His life on a cross to pay for the sins of the whole world.
Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
In Colossians, the Apostle Paul tells us God made peace through Christ's blood, through His death on the cross. When Jesus chose to give up His life, He paid the cost of every sin ever committed and every sin that had yet to be committed. People no longer had to be separated from God. But in the 3 dark days immediately following Jesus' death, His followers didn't understand all of that yet. They huddled in the dark, afraid that they too might be arrested or even killed.
Who's there?
Early on the morning of the 3rd day, Mary Magdalene arrived at the home where the disciples were staying.
They have taken the Lord out of the tomb. We don't know where they have put Him.
The disciples stared at each other in shock. Then, Peter and John lunged for the door. They raced each other all the way back to the tomb where Jesus had been placed.
The tomb really is empty.
There are the linen cloths they wrapped Him in.
Peter and John returned home, still uncertain and confused. And Mary Magdalene, who had followed them, stayed behind in the garden. And as she wept, she noticed a man standing nearby. And at first, she thought he was the gardener.
Sir, did you carry Jesus away? Tell me where you put Him.
Mary.
The instant the man spoke, Mary Magdalene knew immediately who he was. It was Jesus, alive again.
Teacher!
Overjoyed, Mary returned to the disciples to share the incredible news.
I have seen the Lord!
It was true. Jesus had come back from the dead. He's more powerful than sin, more powerful than death. And through him, we can have peace with God and work toward peace with others as God intended from the very beginning.
God had a plan from the very beginning for you and me to be with him. Sin has a way, and sin separates you and me away from him. The cross is where his love poured out, but the story wasn't over yet. There's an empty grave. Death was defeated. Jesus is alive. Shout it to the sky. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. God had a plan from the very beginning for you and me to be with him. Sin has a way, and sin separates you and me away from him. The cross is where his love poured out, but the story wasn't over yet. There's an empty grave. Death was defeated. Jesus is alive. Shout it to the sky. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. J-E-S-U-S. Jesus is alive. J-E-S-U-S. Jesus is alive. We sing J-E-S-U-S. Jesus is alive. Come on. J-E-S-U-S. Jesus is alive. There's an empty grave. 'Cause death was defeated. Jesus is alive. Shout it to the sky. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive. He's alive.
Can I get a little peace and quiet in here? I gotta be honest. It's easy to think about peace as a bubble, ignoring the world so that you can chill out and get a little you time. Or maybe you think of peace as a simple agreement. You do your thing, I do mine. Then we don't have to worry about each other's problems or the ways we're different from each other. Or you might see peace as a big, grand thing. General, this treaty officially ends all wars. But true peace doesn't look like any of that. True peace is messy. It takes hard work and creativity. It says, how can I listen to you first before I speak? It says, how can I learn what it's like to walk in your shoes before I try to fix it? How can we get creative to find a way through? See, when you do the hard work of making peace, others can see God at work in you. That's why making peace is an amazing way to worship God with your life. Because worship, it's about more than just singing loud. It's all about living loud.
Hey there! I'm MC Haggis, the world's greatest Scottish rapper. And this here is my beatboxing partner, Seamus McFamous. Say hi to him, Seamus. Usually, Seamus is here to say aye, but not today. Why? Because I'm not only the world's greatest Scottish rapper, I'm also the world's worst friend. You see, me and Seamus, we got into a big fight, and I feel just awful for what I did. I haven't talked to Seamus in days. That's the longest we've ever gone without talking. Anywho, I've got these peace offerings here that I want to give to him, so I asked Seamus to come on over. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Oh, here he comes, here he comes. Hey, Seamus, buddy. Hi. Okay, I deserve that. Listen, I just wanted to, apologize. And I brought some peace offerings here to try to make amends. I did. Look. I made this candle for you. I made it. Yeah, it smells like pine trees. Uh-huh. Yeah? I made it out of my own earwax. Oh, not a candle person, huh? I also know that you love crafts, right? Crafting, so I got you this book, Crafting with Cat Hair, right? The subtitle, what? Okay. All right, well, I got you one other thing, and I think you're really gonna like it. I think you're gonna really love it. It took me a long time to get. Are you ready? Here it is. Oh! Whoa! Ah! You're speechless, right? Adopt a wombat kit! Oh, it's so great! Oh, look how excited you are just ripping into that. Yeah, there's a real wombat in there. Be careful, man. No. Why'd you let him go? Oh, all right then. I just wanted to show you how much you mean to me. I wanted to, let you know that you're my best friend in the world, and no matter being right means more to me than my friendship with you, I just wanted to apologize. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. No. Yeah. Aye. You really mean it? Aye. You're touched by my gestures and you want to be friends again? Aye. Oh, that's great, Seamus. Oh, that's great. Yes. I'm glad we could make peace. Hey, let's rap about it. All right, kick it. If people are upset and don't get along, give them this piece of advice. They can still correct all of their wrongs and make other people feel like they're worth more than winning an argument, and that is making peace. Word. Yeah. Oh, that was great. You really liked the gifts? Oh, I bet you really liked the candle, didn't you? No? Why not? Here, let me smell it. Oh, yes, that's a mixture of...
I'm Lawson, and today we're talking about peace. Piece of cake? It smells so good. And does anybody have a fork?
Peace, Lawson, not peace.
Yeah, I know. P-E-A-C-E on Earth and all that. I just wanted an excuse to eat cake. Anyhow, at least there are cookies in today's story about P-E-A-C-E, peace, as told to me by my young friend Raj. Now, Raj lives like 5 houses down from the school. So every morning at 7:35, he heads out the front door and down the sidewalk. And every morning at 7:36, Mr. Sampson beelines down the driveway with his coffee to get his newspaper. Because I guess some people still actually get newspapers. He claims it's the smell of the ink. And at precisely 7:37, Jade Zimmerman runs through with her pesky dog, Thunderbolt. Now, Raj usually gets stuck right between them. Then Mr. Sampson complains, "That dog of yours pees on my mailbox." And Jade snaps, "That mailbox is an eyesore." Because Mr. Sampson's mailbox needs a little bit of work. And it's still decorated for Christmas. So, Raj takes some extreme measures. He yells, "Stop!" But Mr. Sampson shouts at Jade, "Your dog is killing my flowers!" And she yells back, "I'm voting you out of the neighborhood!" Raj finally makes a break for it, but their words come flying after him. And it happens like that again and again. Raj tells his mom, "They're driving me nuts." And she says, "Maybe you can help." So, Raj makes a plan. And the next morning, he's ready with treaty treats. They've got chocolate chips for Mr. Sampson with healthy oatmeal for Jade. And while his neighbors are busy chewing, Raj offers to help Mr. Sampson take down the Christmas decorations and plant some daffodils around it. And Raj offers Jade a bag of dog treats so she can coax Thunderbolt to do his business somewhere else. And then they all high 30. And at last there's a little peace for Raj's morning trek to school. So kids, never leave your Christmas decorations up past Valentine's Day. But always do remember that peace is proving you care more about each other than winning the argument. Hey! Aha! Ooh! Time for a little peace? Okay. This is so good. I'll see you guys next time. I love you so much.
Happy Easter to you both.
Right back at you, Kellen. Happy Easter to you. I love Easter. Easter's so fun. I'm so glad today is Easter. What story are you telling, Kellen?
Easter?
Great.
Okay, before I tell you about Easter, I think it's best if I give you a little backstory. In fact, we should really start in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the earth and the sky, and, well, everything. He made a man named Adam and a woman named Eve.
Hey, I'm Adam. You come here often?
I'm Eve, and, no, I just got here.
Cool. Me too.
Adam and Eve lived peacefully in paradise with God until they made a very poor choice. You see, God had only given them one rule: don't eat the fruit from a certain tree. But,
Hey, let's eat from that tree.
once they broke God's rule, the world became broken, and sin separated people from God and broke their relationships with one another. There was no more peace, but God had a plan. Years later, God chose a man named Abraham.
I'm old. Like really old. Like first generation iPod old.
He was old, and even though he didn't have any children, God had promised Abraham that the whole world would be blessed through his descendants.
The whole world?
Did he say descendants?
So Abraham's wife Sarah had a baby named Isaac. And Isaac grew up and had 2 babies. And then they grew up and had even more babies. Abraham's descendants grew and grew. And they became known as the Israelites, God's chosen people. But they still didn't have peace. They didn't have peace when the Israelites were taken as slaves in Egypt.
Let my people go!
And they didn't have peace when God chose Moses to lead people out of slavery.
The Lord has parted the sea so we can escape Egypt. Follow me.
They didn't have peace when God led them to the promised land.
Where's the milk and honey?
I thought it'd be bigger.
I wish we had a king like the other nations.
So God gave them a king.
Hello. I am your king.
Meh, I've seen better.
We want a new God.
Nothing brought God's people peace. But God wasn't finished yet. You see, hundreds of years later in the town of Bethlehem, a descendant of Abraham that would bless the whole world was about to be born. The baby's name was Jesus, and he would become a man who loved people deeply, and he would show us how to love people the way he did. So Jesus loves us so much that he gave his life on a cross to pay for our sins. The Apostle Paul wrote, God was pleased to bring all things back to himself. That's because of what Christ has done. God made peace through Christ's blood by his death on the cross. Jesus paid for every sin ever committed and every sin that would ever be committed. People would no longer have to be separated from God. And with God's help, people would make peace with one another. But the story of Easter doesn't end with Jesus' death on the cross. On the morning of the 3rd day, Mary Magdalene went to Jesus' tomb to cover his body with spices.
That's odd. Someone has rolled away the stone.
Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen.
Mary Magdalene ran to find Jesus' disciples. Peter and John returned with her, and in the tomb, they found linen cloths that were used to wrap Jesus' body. But they did not find Jesus, so they returned home, leaving Mary behind in the garden.
I can't believe Jesus is gone. Hello, sir. You must be the gardener. Did you carry Jesus away? Tell me where you put him.
Mary.
Teacher.
And as soon as the man spoke, Mary knew it was Jesus, alive. He had come back from the dead. Jesus is more powerful than sin. He's more powerful than death. And because of him, we can have peace with God and with each other, as God intended from the beginning. And that is the story of Easter.
We should tell that story every year.
We do.
Awesome.
It is awesome. Before Jesus, we had lost our connection with God. Our relationship was broken. Jesus' death and resurrection, it helped rebuild what was broken and reconnect us with our Creator.
I can't stop singing, singing, singing about you. I can't stop shouting. Whoa! I can't stop, I won't deny it. Nothing's ever gonna keep me quiet. You have saved my life. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't stop singing. I was lost with blinded eyes, searching for the meaning of my life. When you found me, I was bound by sin and shame. Your voice of freedom called my name. When you found me, now I see a love that's shining light into my soul. Now I know I'm yours forever. You won't let me go. I can't stop singing, singing, singing about you. I can't stop shouting. Whoa! I can't stop, I won't deny it. Nothing's ever gonna keep me quiet. You have saved my life. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't stop singing. Like a river you rushed in, stole my heart and covered all my sin. When you found me, now I see a love that's shining light into my soul. Now I know I'm yours forever. You won't let me go. I can't stop singing, singing, singing about you. I can't stop shouting. Whoa! I can't stop, I won't deny it. Nothing's ever gonna keep me quiet. You have saved my life. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't stop singing. We are alive now. We're gonna rise up. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We are your people living in your freedom. Nothing's gonna hold us down. We are alive now. We're gonna rise up. Nothing's gonna stop us now. We are your people living in your freedom. Nothing's gonna hold us down. Nothing's gonna hold us down. I can't stop singing, singing, singing about you. I can't stop shouting. Whoa! I can't stop, I won't deny it. Nothing's ever gonna keep me quiet. You have saved my life. I can't stop singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 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 I can't stop singing.
In the beginning, God created everything. He formed people in His own image. There was nothing between God and us. It was peaceful. It was perfect. But then we turned away from God. When sin entered the world, everything broke. It seemed there was no way for us to be whole again. But God loved us so much.
That he made a plan to rescue us.
God sent his very own son, Jesus, to live among us. Jesus connected with people, old and young, happy or hurting, people like you and me. Jesus healed the sick and forgave those who hurt others. His closest friends saw Jesus was the one sent by God to fix this broken world and make us right with God. They couldn't wait for it to happen. When Jesus entered Jerusalem, huge crowds gathered to welcome him.
But the religious leaders thought Jesus would change too much. They made plans to stop him.
At a special dinner, Jesus told his friends that he had to leave them, but he would return.
That night, Jesus was arrested. He was beaten and given a fake trial. The religious leaders sent Jesus to the Roman governor, who could sentence him to die. Pilate found Jesus had broken no law, but a mob called for Jesus to be killed. Pilate gave in. He handed Jesus over to Roman soldiers. Jesus carried the heavy, rough beam of his own wooden cross up a hill.
Soldiers nailed Jesus' hands and feet to the rough wood and raised him off the ground. But Jesus never stopped showing God's love and mercy. Even from the cross, Jesus asked God to forgive those people who were hurting him.
Finally, Jesus called out, "It is finished."
Then he died. Jesus' body was placed inside a stone tomb with a huge rock blocking the entrance. It seemed the plan had failed, that the world was broken forever, that no one could put the pieces back together. Early Sunday morning, on the day we call Easter, Mary Magdalene hurried to the tomb. She wanted to make sure Jesus' body was buried properly. But something was wrong. The stone was rolled away. When Mary looked inside, the tomb was empty.
Mary saw a man and asked for help. The man called her name, and then she knew. It was Jesus, alive!
God's plan could not be stopped, even by death. His love was too big. Jesus,
God's Son,
took all our broken pieces,
all of our sin,
and made something new.
Jesus lived and died
and rose again,
so we could be right with God.
Forever.
Wow. You know, I hear that story every Easter, and it always amazes me. I mean, God sent Jesus to the world to remind me that he is greater than anything that can go wrong in my world. The simple fact that Jesus came back to life is proof to me that I can face anything bad that happens. When you believe in Jesus and follow him, you begin living in peace with a God who can always take broken pieces and make them into something amazing. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you had fun, and I hope you spend the rest of the day making some great memories with your family. Happy Easter, everyone. Bye. Now, where did I put those chocolate bunnies? Ooh, yes. Bye.
The greatest day in history. Death is beating, you have rescued me.
Jesus is alive. The empty cross, the empty grave, life eternal, you have won the day. Shout it out, Jesus is alive. He's alive. Oh, happy day, you wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, I'll never be the same. Forever I'm changed. I'll never be the same. When I stand in that place, realize meeting face to face, I am yours, Jesus, you are mine. In this joy, perfect peace, earthly pain finally will cease. Celebrate